This video, this video is really for anyone who is going through it right now. It's getting towards Christmas time. A lot of people can start to feel lonely because it's a time where you would usually spend time with friends, with family. But it could also be a time where a lot of people feel lonely. They're around so many people, but they still feel alone. And that's something that I felt a lot of my life. There's a lot of mental chatter whilst everyone else seems to be having fun. And I want you to know that in some of the darkest times in my life, in some of the most painful times in my life, that's where I found the most progression. In fact, now that life can be a lot more positive, I find it harder to push myself because there's not as much fuel to the fire. The times where I was working in a warehouse, which is only a couple weeks ago, I found myself extremely depressed, and it's the hardest I ever pushed in the gym. The moral of this video is that you may feel alone at Christmas being around so many people. You may feel like you're depressed, you may feel very low. And rather than putting that all into self-destruction, which is what I did, there was 2 years ago at Christmas where I contemplated suicide, and that was mostly because my brain was all out of whack from all the drugs and alcohol that I've been using the previous days before. But I genuinely thought it was the end, and look, I'm nowhere near where I want to be. And maybe I'll look back at this video in a few years' time and think, good man, you kept pushing. But I look at myself back then and realise how far I've actually come. If you are going through a painful period in your life, there is nothing better you can do than using it to progress. There's one of two options really. You can either do what I did in the past, which is self-destruct, use drugs and alcohol and just feel even worse in the morning, even worse every single day that you wake up hungover or on a come down. Or you can do what I've been doing for the past year. I'm just over a year into sobriety, and mentally and physically I've progressed more than I've ever progressed in my life. So for the last year, I just focused on progressing rather than self-destructing. So you have one of them two options. You either progress or you self-destruct. And I'm telling you now, you already know. You will never feel prouder than when you keep progressing. Even in them painful moments, even when I felt depressed, even when I felt suicidal, when I've got in bed, the nights where I haven't watched porn, the nights where I've trained as hard as I fucking could in the gym, the nights where I've read, the nights where I've stuck to exactly what I said I would do, even in them dark times, I've never felt proud of jumping in that bed at night. On the other hand, I've never felt darker than when I've gone exactly against what I said I would do. When I've done the drugs, when I've watched porn, when I've gone out partying, being around people that I shouldn't have been around, and woke up, or not even woke up, tried to go to sleep at 5, 6, 7 in the morning, repeating them processes in my head again and again and again, and the mental chatter is so much, the birds outside is so much. But it feels like there's no other option than to just leave the world. There's light and day differences between them two stories. I've been at rock bottom, serious rock bottom, and even speaking about it now, it doesn't even feel like my life story. And then this year I've progressed more than I've ever progressed in my life. And look, I'm still dead broke. I still don't have, I've got like £11 in my bank account. But physically, mentally, in my relationship, my love life, I'm prouder than I've ever been in my life. There was a thought I had in my bed last night, and it didn't come from this, but it's like, I don't really have any friends right now. I have a girlfriend. who is technically, I guess, my best friend at the same time. But it's nice to have a male friend, and then I started to think about it, only for a few minutes. It wasn't a deep thought. Although I guess it was quite deep now that I think about it. I am my own best friend. And the times where I betray myself or I do the things that I know I shouldn't be doing is when I really feel lonely. When I stick to what I say that I will do, I feel so much prouder and I feel like I have that best friend. You are your own best friend. That's the title of this video. I've just come up with it on the spot. And every time you betray yourself, you feel lonely. I know, because like I just said, I felt it, I've lived it. The best thing you can do in this life is just have your own back. Be the person that you needed or need right now. And do the things that you know that you need to do. This isn't some motivational video, because motivation fades, it subsides. This is a video to say, have your own back and don't give up, man. And use the darkness as fuel, whether you train in the gym, whether you train martial arts, whether you go running, absolutely anything you do. If you're in a dark place right now, put that darkness into power, turn it into motivation, and just become as disciplined as physically possible. I have no idea what I'm doing for the rest of my life. I have no job, I'm looking for jobs, and everyone just sounds fucking mundane. But I know that eventually I will find my thing. And maybe this is my thing. I've been thinking about it over the past few weeks and months. Maybe YouTube is my thing. Who knows? We'll see in a few years' time. But I hope that video helped, and yeah, I'm off to do a couple side jobs for the day, just to get a little bit of extra cash to pay rent for the place that I live. And don't give up, man. Cheers, guys.